That's fine. Doesn't need to. He doesn't need to. Ocean's Fury. Smooth blue fur frames this massive beastwoman's flat face. Her blunt snout wrinkling as she sniffs at you. Her skin in those spots where you can see it glistens almost pearlescent. Her upper lip curls back to expose dagger-sharp teeth. Human smells of flame, mystic power, of singed fur soot and plumbed smoke, she snorts, yet looks small and frail like hairless whelp. For what does human disturb ocean's fury, prowling vigil? I've seen a lot of different beastmen here. How many tribes call their moon home? One and more than one, like human tribes, but grown stronger in difference. One and more than one. What does that mean? One tribe called Woodkin hunts prey in bastard wound. All beastwomen answer to Woodkin name. All did look to Reef Talon as prima before Reef Talon left into Old Walls. What tribes did they belong to before they all became Woodkin? Ocean's Fury and Reef Talon are Manta-born, first among tribes. She draws herself up proudly and thumps a closed paw against her chest. Manta-born hunt sea as swift as sharks, range long coast from Salwart to Seed, rule ocean where human bring no war. West River a fur like rust, range northern lands, highest tier, not many days from Wound, towards sunset, where humans fear tread, yep. Okay, she seems to consider the tribe. West Reavers, best hunters in grassland, good hunters in mountain. She chuffs lightly. Poor hunters in sea salt. Stone Stalker small, but roam in large pack. Strong mystic know the stone song of earth's blood. Good hunters in mountains, not as good as any other place. Okay. A few others stalk with Woodkin. Chase, Cloud, and Gloom of Dawn, Katvana. Only few left. What's that about the tribe's differences? Her eyes narrow slightly. Each tribe knows its hunting grounds best. Manta-born best swimmers, small stone stalkers climb quickest, shadow hunters blend with night, and stalk with cunning. Simple. What do you mean by your prowling vigil? Ocean Fury prowls Wound Farm, hunts Bane with claws and fangs, drive away trespassers with growls and knuckles. She points out to the vast gulf to the north. Old walls split down center like lightning forked stump. Bane slip across the gulf. Ocean's Fury watches always. Okay. Cool. Cool, bro. Faint illumination from the sky above limbs the jagged edge of the fractured old walls overhead. Far below you can make out the flickering dots of torchlight marking the Wound community. So I'm like super high up in the sky. Interesting. Yeah, I'll take those mushrooms. Sure thing. We haven't talked to Lunet. Howdy, Fatebinder. To be honest, I didn't expect a cordy type like you to show up in this piss hole. You would have thought you'd have better things to do than check up on a few wilting green growing in beast shit. What can I do for you? How'd you end up in a Wound? I came in, 2 years back, with the Freeblade Marauders. I've been in the Wound ever since. Who or what is Freeblade Marauder? Nothing but the finest of the many fine mercenary groups out of the Free Cities. There's the Freeblades, the House of Broken Regents, a few others. Aren't the Browns Brotherhood out of the Free Cities? The Brotherhood? Those fucking fucks can go fuck themselves. Whoa, lady! Especially that Rudderman, whatever his fucking name is. What a huge cock, and crazy as a beast woman raised on batshit. One of those days, he'll lose his head to one of his own people. You mark my fucking words. Good guess, but I got him first. Good riddance. Like I said, somebody was bound to do it. What do you do around the farm? Well, used to have patrol out in the ruins, keeping the entry free of any unwanted visitors with Hill Strider and her crew. About a year ago, though, my damn fool husband didn't pull out in time, and the Wound found itself another mouth to feed. Okay, too much info, but sure. Of course, the worthless bastard went and got himself torn to pieces fighting Bane, so I'm up here tending crops and letting my sword arm go to waste so the kid doesn't grow up an orphan. She sighs. Don't get me wrong, he's a good kid for a babe. I'm just damn glad he's out of me. Tycho's got me on vegetable duty, which suits me just fine. Don't know if it's some post-pregnancy bullshit or something, but those creepy glowing mushrooms make me want to lose my lunch and dinner. She glances towards Taiko. She's been hovering more than usual as of late, like she thinks I'm slacking off. Okay. But we talk to everybody. There's nothing to do here. Like, at all. I mean, it's interesting that we get access to this and we get a little bit more info about how they survive, but, like, is this entire cavern it? That's it? That can be it. Maybe, like, what I need to do... Oh, wait, maybe I can talk to, that guy. Mel. Nope. Okay, let's take a look here. Seeds of Power. Yeah, no. Fighters Keepers. Okay. Truth and Reconciliation. Mel said the first chronicle is hidden in the Bastard Wounds farm area. Search the farm with Lentry present to find it. Oh. I didn't find that at all. Did I miss something?
You want me to be subtle? Fine.
Can't do that. Sorry, I can't.
I mean, we search everywhere.
Let's try not to stand out.
Oh,
shall
look at
we?
this! Chronicle of the Sages. Ah, the old concealed text in a pile of pig shit trick. Classic. As Lentry approaches the corner of the pen, a pile of hay and animal dropping vanishes, replaced by a stash of scrolls. Now, here's a subject close to my heart. Histories of the school and ink and quill. Who doesn't love a little auto-chronicle? Roll calls, minutes, graduation announcement, publication dates, and letters. Oh my! Adopt Sages Koran and Ostrek had any idea their correspondences would be immortalized for the records. Not the most exciting bit of history, but I can see why Mel and Nixim would want the words of colleagues close at hand. I think it brings back memories. Indeed! Some of these notes even have my name on them. Ah, yes, here's my series on bird anatomy. I did that back in 388? Where have the years gone? Those note includes the part where you conspire to steal our magic. A slight cough escapes Lentry's lip, but he offers no reply aside from turning pages. Well, do they? Well, of course they did. Lentry pauses, his eyes stopping to read the text before him. Nope, they don't. This is about entrapping an old dolt from the School of Wild Wrath, an enemy like the Tidecasters you fight without a written record. I think I'm flattered. Come closer so I can show you my appreciation. Nice try, old hag. Lentry never makes the same mistakes 8 times. 8 times? I know it's also worthless in hindsight, but it is a record of our school, whatever that's worth. I can obsess about these later. We've other things to do, right? We can pause. I'll look around while you have a read. How can I say no to that order? With a smug grin, the old sage dives into the texts. Several minutes pass as Lentry pores over the pages. Strange, all these names of dead people. Good riddance to some, others our loss, Kairos' loss. Anything seems incorrect? Sage Ostrek's grammar is appalling, but no, not really. Sorry, no spells or great recipes for grappa, just lectures, letters, and other sentimental detritus. Anyone you know very well? In a way, all of them. The school was never crowded enough to disappear into an anonymity, but as a field scholar of sorts, I was as distant as it gets. He shakes his head with a heavy sigh, lifting a quill from near his shoulder as he does. He puts the quill to his hand and scribbles several circles of sepia. Pick one of the volumes and peruse. In this regard, Lentry was correct. Countless sheafs of parchments, all of its social correspondences, and academic texts of plodding, boring detail. Look for writing out of place. You spot a page inked with a conspicuously glossy sheen, suggesting ink far fresher than the original writing. A minuscule crease along the binding hints at where this page was inserted, likely via magical means to blend almost seamlessly. Oh, interesting. The text describes a debate between sages discussing the riddles of rings. The hell is that? Every village and every realm has its own local riddle, but you've heard of the riddle of the rings as a sort of proverb older mage tell the younger ones, though most forge-bound tell intentionally conflicting details of it to outsiders, so whatever meaning it has is a bit muddled. You've heard soldiers joke that the riddle of the rings is a saying about the oft-talked-about but probably apocryphal forge-bound stuck with the duty of crafting rings all day. By common jest, the riddle is, how many rings does he make each span, and how many of those does he get to keep? And one sage with the familiar name of Lentry is arguing that the riddle of rings posits that Kairos has already conquered the Tears. For if the sages speak the language of Kairos, Lentry reasoned, and used the currency of Kairos, the military conquest is an extraneous formality. He's not wrong, by the way. He's 100% right. Green Pumpkin, thank you so much for that host. I do appreciate it. Is this describing a real event? It's, yes. Not exactly as I recall it, though. I've written a lot of ink on myself. It was 425 and Sage Cavell was giving a lecture series, having recently returned from his expedition to observe the Forge-bound and their ways. At one point he discussed their teaching methods, so the Riddle of Rings came up as part of his lecture. At that time, I joked that the real Riddle of Rings is, aren't we already conquered? And I launched into a not entirely sober diatribe about Kairos' inevitable invasion and dominion. According to this, I gave a stirring speech met with applause. Hardly. I was hit in the head with an old scroll case and told to sit down. Shut up and let the scholars talk. Nice. You could correct the record. I could, and I will. I'll make a note to return to this until I know why this was edited as such. I just assume not temper further. I think my nostalgia has been overtaxed for the time being. Let's get moving. I need to think on this a bit. Lentry closes the tome, stashing the old books in one of his satchels. Okay. Find the remaining chronicles. Where the hell are they? Are they all in the wounds? Weird. Hey, Boone, what's up, brother? How you doing? Once you have gained access to the lower sections of the Bastard's Wounds Old Walls, continue your search for the Chronicles. Okay, so they're downstairs. A woman named Melita. So I have to go back to Lethian's Crossing anyway. For 2 different quests. So we might as well do that. Rolling right now while watching your stream. Awesome, man. Where are you rolling to? Or from? Right. Now let's leave this place. It's a cool place. The Shattered Bastion? These ruins are all that remains of a fortified estate that ended up perfectly positioned to serve as a... Okay, yeah, that's where I want to go. I want to go there first, because there was an area we didn't explore. Oh, rolling in that sense. Gotcha. I thought it was rolling about, like, driving. Okay, see, there's a place here we haven't checked. That's rope there. I don't know where it leads. You see a very old broken section of the wall. There is a rope hanging down that has recently been used to scale. Well, shit. Cool, man. It's pretty chill. Love it. Okay. Sunset Spire, here we go. Ethan's Crossing. Plop. Oh, it makes me go here because it's faster. Then I teleport here, and boom. Interesting. You have 2 people to talk to in this area. Now to talk to Melita, which we found earlier. She had nothing to say, so I was figuring she might be needed for a quest eventually. And apparently she is. She's right here. A slender woman picks through produce in a carried sack. Her hands appear focused on finding a particular piece of fruit, but her eyes are intent on the other shoppers in the marketplace below. A man passes by her, accidentally dropping a pouch as he goes. She bends down to retrieve it and hands it back to him. Careful, you almost lost this. He takes the pouch with a blushing smile and promptly walks away, clutching the pouch close to his side. The woman spots your approach as the man walks away. Greetings, how may I be of service? I love it. Clever. I almost didn't see you palm those rings into that pouch. Almost. I didn't realize I had an audience. Must be a sign I'm slowing down after all these years. Don't worry, nothing underhanded, just trying to repay a debt on the quiet. Certainly someone such as yourself understand that needs for discretion. I'm gonna go with draw your weapon. Enough. Lie again and I'll have your head. Steady your hand. No need for that. Apologies, but I know who you are and discretion is my business. Fear grips the woman and she cowers back, her whole body trembling. Kill her and search the... No. Glare silently. She looks at you with a nervous smile. Is there something I can do for you? Melita, I presume. You must be the peddler my friend mentioned. Yes, that's me, but while I'm in town, Xantha will suffice. In my line of work, discretion is lesson number 1, although it seems someone else failed in their discretion, else you wouldn't be here. I need to find Phoebe. Well, the fact that I know her, that's free. Current information costs extra, and information on friends costs extra. So this isn't the kind of question I'm comfortable answering. Legion's Crossing favor. I'm going to use that one. I can be trusted. Ask around town if you don't believe me. I can't buy grain with noble sentiment, but if a faint biter is asking, I can find it in me to be forthcoming. Phoebe sent me the occasional missive. Last I heard from her, she's doubled back toward the burning library. She's got herself the dangerous notion that she can recover scripts from her old home. Though I think she's avoiding the actual library, seeing as it's the epicenter of the devastation. Phlogiston. She mentioned a place called Phlogiston. I think she means the village that used to be called Babbling Springs before the war, out in the contested lands. And that's as much as I know about where to find her. If you can't find her there, maybe she's taking her chances at the library itself. Wagstaff sent me to find you. Did he now? I suppose he needs a reminder in our code of confidentiality. If I may ask, how and where did you run into Wagstaff? You grab about confidentiality and then ask where he is. Come on. Can't fault me for trying. What are you here to peddle? I used to specialize in written things, but the schools are gone, and so are most of my clients. These days, I mostly deal in wineskin, shoe, and lamp oil. Nothing glamorous, but what else do people need during times such as these? Okay. It's all well and good. Now we need to go here. For that other quest. Oh, we received a letter. Tune on favor 1. Dear Shino 7, based on what you've told me, it seems a stretch to believe these events are mere coincidence of circumstances. Kairos' edict of execution was a setup for someone to claim Ascension Hall. To think that Kairos did not know what would happen is a massive underestimation of the Overlord's long view. You've been thrust into the arena of the mighty. Your options are retreat into obscurity, suicide, or rising to the occasion. I suggest the third option. If I were you, I would use my connection to the spires to see if they will all awaken to my presence. Every Tearsman sees the spires in the horizon. If they know you are the master of the spires, they will see you each time they look at the sunrise or sunset. Foster a reputation of power, make others fear you. This is what I've seen Kairos and every living Archon do for as long as I've lived, and there's reason for this. There's the practical case that power and a reputation insulates you from threats, but there's a lesser known element that I can't prove, but I know in my heart to be true. The fear and love of others will strengthen your magic. This last part I've inferred from my discussion with Bled and Mark. In the few times he has spoken of his gruesome work of slaying those who might rise to threaten the Overlord, he has hinted that it's easier to kill the rogue elements before they become famed and fearsome. In my lifetime, I saw Graven Ash change from an unknown militiaman to a fearsome general, and I can assure you he did not have the power to shield his warriors in those days when he was without title or reputation. The Archons will never, ever discuss the origin of their power, because such knowledge might be used against them. But I have known all the Archons to be obsessed with the presentation of power. Your connection to the spires will all but guarantee the Archons will want to control and destroy you. It's a question of when, not if. Start thinking and acting like an Archon. As far as I'm concerned, you are an Archon. The Archon of the spires. We are quick to place labels on powers we easily spot, and history is replete with Archons of fire and ice. It is foolish to think that there must be a word for a thing before an Archon can control it. Other way around. The Archons show us what is possible, and we must step to their dance. Myotis. Ask about the Archons and how they've risen to power. Dear Myotis, I appreciate the insight and I'm honored by your vote of confidence. Your missive made mention of Graven Ash and how you've known of him since before he wore the title Archon of War. Can you tell me more of what you observed in his rise to power? If I'm indeed an Archon, it's safe to say I wasn't born knowing what I can or can't do, and it stands to reason I might learn something from the stories of other Archons. Send that. Let's go. I'm hoping we get to explore the underneath of the old walls, like the basement. You have returned. Yes, I did. I'm looking for some napping tools on behalf of Jaspus. Jaspus? None of us have heard from him in some time. He certainly did this part to create the forge here, but there was little else from a napper to do after setting the foundation. I'm quite certain he was ordered to return home. She grabs an iron ingot and holds it aloft. This, on the other hand, is the vanguard of my hour work. My tour of duty ends only when there are no more enemies for my iron to kill. So where did Jaspus end up? I'd prefer not to say. That's your right, Fate Minor. Jaspus is not under my supervision, so I ask only out of curiosity. She scowls. We're just here to meet the quotas anyway. Still, it's good to know that he's alive. What did you know of Jaspus? Only the superficials, sadly. He worked in stone. I'm more keen on metal, so we rarely compared notes. I knew he was arrogant, confident beyond his years, and talent. Not to say he was inept, far from it, but a few years of flaking chert does not make one Kairos gift to the Forgebound. Does Jaspus have any associates still around? Once this place was built, most of the nappers were sent home. I know his supervisor was Cassandra, master of napping. She was sent home as well. She's a bit on in years, not quite fit for the long walk back, so I think she's currently enjoying a boat ride home. Did the stone nappers leave behind any of their tools? If so, where might I find them? I have no idea what inventory the stonesmiths kept with them. All of our stoneworkers left some time ago. A few of them meant to return north by ocean travel, which meant first traveling to the southern coastline. I'd imagine they're probably gone by now, but if you need those tools, I can't imagine they had room on the galley to take all their sledgehammers. If I were you, I'd ask around for Cassandra, or, since she's likely on the boat home right now, see if some local was drafted to attend to her or haul her stuff. Maybe they've inherited some of her excess belongings she couldn't take on the boat. South Haven. Aside from that, I suppose in the abstract, I could have someone cast a few chisel and hammers, but if you're looking for tools made by and for the stone experts, I think South Haven is your best bet, short of slugging it back to Fort Resolution. Cool, we're ending there. Let's go to South Haven, guys. Let's go to see the sea. We haven't seen the sea yet. That should be interesting. The loading in this village is so freaking long every time. I don't know why. I think it may be because like there's two like waterfalls maybe. I don't know. Why is there a symbol there as if I didn't loot something? Some of the icons are bugged. I noticed over time. South Haven, let's go. While making your way through the wilderness, you come upon several dense shrubs, liberally dotted with crimson berries. The fruits are plump and ripe, with a thin skin that gives slightly under the pressure of your touch, hinting at the juice within. The fertile entry. Budding rose. Harvest the berries. Eat a berry. We've had this before. We've had this exact encounter before. I didn't think they could repeat. That's kind of unfortunate. Okay, South Haven it is. What will we find here? Captaron. A middle-aged man nods to you, clutching a small apple crate in one arm. A well-worn scrap of parchment pokes out of his bald fists, charcoal tally marks visible on its exposed surface. Well met, traveler. Sorry I was counting these out for Hermod and didn't see you coming. Welcome to South Haven. You're the freight binder, aren't you? The one that claimed the mountain spire. It's not every day we have such an esteemed visitor. As he awkwardly bows, several apples falls out of the crate and bounce out of his hands, running past your feet. Sorry, he sets the container down. Is there something I can do? What do you do here? Me?